Evening, welcome to episode number 38 of the live show. My name is Brad. Thank you for tuning in. We have lots of good stuff to talk about tonight. First, we will talk about, what are we going to talk about first? 2 Corinthians chapter 5. Been studying this for the last couple of weeks and pulled some stuff out the other day. Wanted to kind of discuss it and apply it, and I don't know. It's nothing, we're not going to go real in depth with anything with that tonight, but just wanted to make mention of a couple of things that I've been studying through that text. Number 2, American Gospel documentary. So pumped about this. It is really, what's up, Brandon? Shout out. Hey, Brandon, if you want to post in the comments details about the conference, because I was going to mention it anyways, but it will just save me from trying to improvise. And you can just let everybody know what you want me to say, and I will do that. Cruciform conference coming in October. Find out more details momentarily. But number 2, American Gospel documentary. We are, it's gaining traction. It's one of the top streamed documentaries on Amazon. I want to mention it real quickly. A lot of people have asked me about it. Everybody, I'm sometimes I forget that people don't, spend as much time in the theology world as me. And so people talk to me about it, and I'm like, you haven't heard about American Gospel yet? So wanted to mention it at least so everybody knew what was going on with that. And then number 3, I want to mention the Cultish podcast from Apologia. I want to talk about that. I want to show you that. So we will highlight that. Couple of business aspect things to take care of, as we always do as we begin. If you have questions that you would like to submit, you can do so at theologynights.com. We have a form right on our homepage, and we try to answer those within a week or two. I actually have a viewer-submitted question show lined up, I think, next week or the week after, because I've had some questions come in over the last couple of weeks, and I want to get to those. But if it's a question that you want answered sooner, if you don't want it saved for the show, send me a message on Facebook or send me fill out the form on the website and just say, hey, can you answer this for me sooner? Because I'll be glad to get back to you right away. I try to message anybody back right away. And so if I don't, I'll get back to you next thing in the morning or whenever I have a moment. But yeah, if you would, just please submit a question. I'd love to interact with you guys that way. And then youtube.com/theologynights. Subscribe if you have not, because as you have seen, we are posting new content throughout the week, not just on Tuesdays. And so I want you guys to be aware of the new content. So go to youtube.com/theologynights and click subscribe. Make sure you click the little notification bell. That way you will receive updates whenever we post content. We actually are planning on going live on YouTube sometime soon. I don't know when. I just want to give it a shot because it seems that I get really good. I get like when I look at my analytics and things like that on YouTube, I really get good traffic. There's a lot of times that I don't know if YouTube, I don't want to say is promoting some of the videos that I do, but some of the keywords, they're real popular on YouTube. And so I noticed that some of the videos that I do, they pop up in searches. And so I want to try a live show once on YouTube just to see if we can kind of tap into a new market that people who don't know about the show, we could welcome them in. So I'm thinking about doing a live show on YouTube sometime soon. So make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. New book, what day is today? Tuesday. Yeah, new book Tuesday. New John Calvin sermons on 2 Timothy, Banner of Truth. This is a beautiful, beautiful book, recently translated and updated. I'm really excited about this because 1 Timothy, the sermons on that, I had it in my cart since it first came out, and I never got it. And 2 Timothy is one of my favorite books in the Bible. And so when this came out, I kind of got it right away. And it came in today. And so I'm really excited about this. So add that on top of the other 32 books that I'm reading right now. I actually plan on doing like my morning study time using this. I'm trying to figure out how I want to incorporate this into my morning readings. So I'm thinking about, I don't know, it's an exegetical study on the book of 2 Timothy. So it's, pages that range from 13 to 14 pages-ish. But again, shout out Banner of Truth. They make great stuff. I mean, look at this cover. Judge the book by the cover, if nothing else. It's beautiful. I'm excited to start on this. Who's all here tonight? Pastor Ron is here. Shout out Pastor Ron. Ricky B is here. Hey, buddy. Brother Rob is here. He is sneaking around on Twitter with his incognito profile that only a few of us have caught on to. With Devontae, what's up, brother? Nice to see you guys. Brandon says, don't throw your covers away. That's the new thing. There's this funny joke about one of the guys that we follow on Twitter. He posted a video of him throwing away his dust jacket cover, and it like took off. And so now the new thing to do is you have to remove the dust jacket, and you put a video of it, you throwing it away in the trash. That's if you like dust jackets or not. You would find humor in that. If you're probably thinking, what in the world are you talking about? Part of the Twitter universe. Probably better that don't spend all your time on Twitter. Brandon says, let me read this just so we know. Cruciform Conference is October 18th and 19th, 2019 in Indianapolis, Indiana. First off, Dustin Benge. Shout out Dr. Benge, Theology Night's guest. He is an expositor. He is a boss preacher, I would agree. Jeff Metters, he is the author of the Humble Calvinism book. Cole Dickey, Brandon Scalf. I'm not really sure about that Brandon guy, but I don't know. I guess you have to kind of wade through the bad to get to the good. Craig Miller. Implications of Faith author. Fantastic resources. Alex Rodriguez from Men's Muster. There's a lot more speakers, breakout sessions. Kofi is going to be there as well. He was also on Theology Nights. So I'm just saying there's more people that have been on the Theology Nights podcast that are at this conference than not. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to maybe it's just coincidence. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe it's the podcast bump, as they call it. These guys are coming up. What else? Sponsors, Steadfast Bibles, which is the NASB Preacher's Bible. They make those. 9 Marks. I'm sure you've heard of them. Free Bibles. Are you giving away a Preacher's Bible, or is it you're doing a giveaway? I think it's a giveaway, but this note looks like free Bibles. There's free books. There's all kinds of breakout sessions. Early bird pricing is $35 for students, all the way up to doctorate students. Very nice. And then $55 for regular attendees, which if you're familiar with conferences, that's a heck of a deal. Conferences are at least $100 typically. So that's a really good deal. In downtown, I think it's downtown, right, Brandon? Indianapolis. It's at their location of where their church plant is. It starts on a Friday and then goes into Saturday. He says they're giving away a preacher's Bible, but then everybody will get free books. Go to Indianapolis for free books. Why not? That's what I'm saying. So listen, it's Dead Men and those guys are a great resource for the church, and I couldn't believe the amount of solid teachers that they have coming to the conference. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm happy to help promote and get people attending. And so, Brandon, thank you for giving us that information. He's going to actually get me a graphic. And so to the wife. So the conference is actually, this is really weird. I haven't really mentioned much of this yet, but so we have a local company that's called Icons of Youngstown, which is like a marketing agency, and they have a magazine and stuff like that. And a while ago, I said to my wife, I was like, I'm going to be in that magazine one day for my podcast. Long story short, I ended up connecting with the guy on Instagram who runs the magazine. He came to my work. We sat and talked for an hour. I told him about the podcast and about the show and stuff like that. We talked about analytics and all of these things. He said, I want you to apply to be one of our speakers at our big conference that we do in October. And so I was like, oh, yeah, whatever. And so I applied. And then I didn't hear anything for a while. And, fast forward to about a week ago, he emailed me and said that they picked me to come and be a speaker at this conference. The conference is Thursday, Friday of October, that week of the Cruciform Conference. And then the Cruciform Conference is Friday, Saturday. So I don't know. Shout out. DoYoLive.com is the website for this conference. And just it's really cool. It's a secular conference. And so the guy knows what I'm all about. And he was, willing to have me on, and we had a good talk about, I don't know, I get really, nerdy with certain things, and I guess I was able to sound like I know what I'm talking about. And so he wants me to come and speak. So I'm going to go to this conference and I'm going to talk about who knows what. I said to my wife the other night, I was like, I really think I'm out of my league. Because I do. I think I'm out of my league. But, for some reason I'm supposed to go and talk. And so I will do that. So I really would appreciate if you would pray for me over the next six or so months, however long, about 6 months. I have to prepare a talk. I have to, come up with all of that. But more importantly, this is a chance for me to reach the immediate community of where we live with the gospel. I was pretty clear with this guy when we sat down and talked what I was doing this podcast for, and he still invited me. So he knows what I'm about. He knows, I'm sure, what I'm going to talk about. And so, there's so much that, can come from this podcast, but most importantly, I just want to be faithful to Christ, and I want to talk about him and what he has done through this. So again, it's secular conference, and I mean, just to get a chance to talk about the podcast and how I've been able to grow, and I mean, it's just I'm looking forward to it. But again, I'm out of my league. I really am out of my league. So pray for me about that. But yeah, so to circle all the way back around, I'm gonna really try to get to the Cruciform. I want to meet a lot of these guys. The three specific: Brandon, Kofi, and Dr. Benj. And he hates when I call him that, but I can't help it. It's Dr. Benj. I want to just meet them. They've had such an impact on my life, and so I really hope I can make it. Just kind of depends on how the schedule will work. I'm about, 5.5-ish hours away from Indy, so it would be a quick turnaround, but we'll see what I can make happen. So what else do we got? I think that's it. I blabbed for 12 minutes, and we haven't even started yet. What are we going to talk about first? Let's talk about 2 Corinthians 5, because I want to do that, because it's not really... I want to explain why I'm highlighting this text first. And what the reason is, hold on a second. The reason why I want to mention this, okay, is there has been a lot of talk lately about the me-centered gospel, the man-centered gospel. Not that there actually is. I wish there was like another way we could describe stuff like that, because it's like when we call it the prosperity gospel or the word of faith gospel or stuff like that. Brandon says will get me a bed and keep my belly full. You know me well enough, I'm sure, to know that this belly takes a lot of food to be full. So that is a dangerous road to go down, my friend. But I appreciate the hospitality, and I hope to be able to take you up on that offer. But this man-centered gospel, this make you feel good, you're a great person kind of gospel, that has become, I not that it like minimized. I think just lately it is, maybe I'm becoming more aware of it. Because I'm kind of getting more involved with some stuff, but really it's growing so badly, and especially like in our area here, it's extremely popular. So as these last couple of weeks have gone on, I was really studying 2 Corinthians 5, using it as all the Chick-fil-A I want. Brand says that's a pretty good deal. I get a free place to stay. I get all the Chick-fil-A I want. If you got good coffee and Wi-Fi, we're on our way. That's all I got to say. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, I've been studying it almost every day for the last, 2 weeks. And there's these two verses, and I'm just going to read them. In verse 14, it says, "For the love of Christ controls us, because we have concluded this, that one has died for all, therefore all have died." Verse 15 says, "And he died for all, that those who live might no longer live for themselves, but for him who for their sake died and was raised." So there are three things I think we need to understand, and I mean really understand, in order to be a effective follower of Christ. And I'm not talking about, I don't mean to become a follower. I mean, you already are a follower of Christ, and so let's work from that. First, let me say this. The love of Christ has to control you, or depending on your translation, it might say compels you. What do I mean by that? And Better Life Coffee is coming to serve unlimited coffee. What else? I'm speechless. I am without speech right now. You have hit all of my requirements, and it helps those in need in third world countries. And I like to help people that are in need. You're right. Can't beat it. Cruciform conference. You got to go. Anyways, the love of Christ literally is your motivation each and every day. And this is why we are followers of Christ. Like, get that down into your bones. And so I know, and I could speak from my personal experience. Listen, like when I wake up in the morning, there are more days than not that the first thought I have is, now Brandon, my wife, wants to come too. The first thought that I have is, I can't wait to go back to bed tonight. And how much stuff do I have to do today before I can go back home? Because I'm groggy, I didn't sleep good, or, whatever the case is. But that first thought of the morning, and then that fog that I have to work through, there's just so much that causes me to get away from my mission. And so as I was reading these two verses, and I know that 2 Corinthians 5 is a popular chapter because of verse 17 and verse 20 and 21. But listen, the love of Christ controls us. It compels us. It causes us to go. It is our motivation. Not us, but the love of Christ. Second, we are dead, okay? This is an aspect of the old person is dead. The old, prior to being saved person is dead. And so we are being made new each and every day. So we should not be feeding that old person. It's dead. And so we are wasting time when we try to continue to give it life. And what happens is it wastes energy, it wastes resources, it causes you to burn out, but it gets you off of your mission. Therefore, if anyone is Christ, you are a new creation. Behold, old things are passing away. Behold, all things are becoming new. So it's this we are growing, and we are being transformed from one degree to another. But we have to remember, we are crucified with Christ. The old man is dead. The new one is becoming alive. It is no longer I who lives, but Christ lives in me. So, and I'm building to a main point. So let me just get to that last point. The purpose in our lives is to live for Christ. Plain and simple. Whatever you do, whether you eat or drink, do all things for the glory of God. If you are living the Christian life for yourself, okay, you are minimizing what it means to be a follower of Christ. And I think what happens, okay, is when we take a look around at the popular churches, and I quotation that, the popular teaching among Christianity, it does not take long to see where the focus is. Let's make the person comfortable because it's all about them. Let's make the service exciting and flashy and entertainment driven because it's all about the person. Let's create an experience that causes excitement, and let's talk about how good you are as a person. And let me also mention this too, because I get so much pushback whenever I make comments like this. Like, not all churches are like this. I get that. Believe me. When I make statements like this, it's not a blanket statement for every single church in America. Praise God, it's not. But what I am saying is that it does not take long to see that the majority of what is going on in the church today in America is a seeker-friendly, entertainment-driven, make you feel good kind of church. And the problem with that is when this message is becoming popular, it spreads because people are buying into it and they're getting excited about this experience. We're creating these people that are deceived. We're creating people that are quote unquote false disciples, and my heart breaks for these people because when you attend a church, okay, you are placing and if it's your family, you're placing your family's souls under the care of this pastor, okay? So you have entrusted your spiritual life to this person. And for that person to stand on stage and to preach a false gospel, to preach something that is not Jesus Christ and Him crucified, to preach a message that is basically, you are good. God loves you so much because you are good. He's your buddy. He's your pal, that he couldn't stand to be without you. And so this message that has become so popular, we it's no wonder why there's less discipleship happening, and that this rise of church system, like I always say, like, you can go on Amazon and buy a church starter pack, and it's all the same, and like I've heard it from so many different people that are like, I want to start a church and it's going to be different, and yet it's the same type of church that everybody else is doing. And why do you think that is? Because that's what's like that is appealing to people. That is the opposite of 2 Corinthians 5:15. He died for all, that those who live might no longer live for themselves, but for him who for their sake died and was raised. We have created a model of church that is for these people. It is, let's see how comfortable we can make people. Let's see how much we can look like the world. You know, I can be pretty bold in saying that, because that's what's going on. You know, again, praise God for the faithful churches. I know a lot of them. I really do. My point in saying all of that is, like, listen, like we really need to just open up our eyes and see what's going on. We Josh, hi Josh, it's nice to see you, buddy. Like, the funny thing, I don't know, did you see Ed Young? Is that why you mentioned that? If they turn the stage into a basketball court, that's got to be why you said that. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Ed Young. Probably better if you haven't. The guy's got like 400,000 followers on Twitter. He's got thousands of people that watch into his church, and he's an author, and he's an older version of Stephen Furtick is basically what he is. And they posted something on Twitter the other day. They were like, we were able to fit a full court basketball. We were able to put, what do you call a basketball field? Is it a court? B-ball court. Yeah. They fit a full size basketball court into their worship center. And they were like that was their draw to get people into the church, was a basketball court, because it's March and because it's college basketball, the tournament. My sports language is really bad. I'm sorry. And I'm really realizing that right now. I used to know a lot about sports too. That was the thing. But they are using that as a draw to get people in. And yeah, I don't know why I said basketball field. I know that it's a basketball court. They're using that as the draw to get people in. It's the message, the gospel message has become secondary. It might not even be second, honestly, in that church. It might be like fourth or fifth on the list, because what they've done is they have whatever we can draw the crowd in with. That's what we're going to highlight. And the basketball court was the thing. Like, we have a church in our area that does, I've called them out before, and I don't, you know, I've personally messaged them to have a discussion about some of this stuff, and they just refuse to get back to me. We have a church in our area that they go all, I mean, I'm sure this is a lot of people's churches, or a lot of churches out there, but they go all out for the Super Bowl. They do Joshua is preaching from a soccer field next Lord's Day. That's that's accurate. I thought I heard that too. Shout out Josh Jenkins, man. If you're going to preach from a soccer field, I'll bring you some of those oranges. You remember those orange slices we used to have when we were little kids and when we would play soccer? I'll bring you some orange slices if you preach from a soccer field next Sunday. But we have a church in our area that is all about the Super Bowl, and they turn their soccer court. We are way off track tonight. This is great, and I'm 24 minutes in, and I am only like 6 points into my first point. The church goes all out for Super Bowl. That's their draw, man. They're just, it's horrible. This church is they're as seeker friendly as you can get, and they just opened a campus on our college that's in our town. We have a decent sized college, Youngstown State University. This church planted a church experience campus, whatever you want to call it, and I am like very outspoken against it. And a lot of people have said, well, isn't it great that these college kids are are getting to, to hear about God and to get a hearing about Christ. And if that were the case, that would be fantastic. And yeah, it should be. But the problem is, I'm well aware of the when I was younger and Lincoln was president, the pastor stood behind a pulpit I thought, I glanced over at that and I thought you said that, Pastor Ron, when I was younger and Lincoln was president. Pastor Ron. Shout out Pastor Ron too. Whenever you would like to come on the show, you are signed up. Here's what I want to do. Okay. So now that I have 2 microphones, I can do like a live show from the basement. So I think Pastor Ron should be the first live guest in the basement. So I'll get you a nice chair. You can sit over here. We'll videotape we'll get dual angles. We'll make it all nice. You can have your own microphone. We'll go all out. How about that? Hashtag Pastor Ron. Let's just end the 2 Corinthians section because I have 2 more and I'm already at almost a half an hour. But anyways, so the reason why I mention 2 Corinthians 5 is I don't know if it's because I spend a lot of time watching, I learned so much about this stuff. I'm just aware of it. I see it all the time, and I'm real active on social media, so I see it from that aspect. But it just is. See you, Brother Josh. Good to see you, man. It's just so popular, and I don't think people are as aware of it. And I'm not saying that I just would like people to be more aware of what's really happening. And so the reason I say that is because if you're aware of what's happening, you are more apt to help people not get engaged with that stuff. That is, because the growth of these churches is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. So yeah, that's why I mentioned 2 Corinthians 5. The point of the believer's life is to live for the glory of Christ, not for the glory of man. Therefore, your church service should not be set up for the glory of man, but it should set up for the glory of Christ. Let's go on. What do I have for number 2? The American Gospel documentary. Ah, yes. Okay. So what is the American Gospel documentary? Let me click over to there it is. Okay. So on Amazon, it's right here, American Gospel, Christ Alone. You can rent it for $4.99. You can buy it for $14.99, or you can buy the DVD copy directly from their website. But I wanted to show you it on Amazon. So this is basically there's been a couple of documentaries that have come out in the last couple of years that have been just fantastic. They've been real solid in their theology, and they have been they've been produced really well, because that's it's not about you have to walk a fine line, because we're kidding ourselves. If you're going to do something that's theological, you need to be focused on what the theology is, but you also want to make it look good. You want it to sound good. You want the edits to be good. You want the quality to be good. And American Gospel does that. They hit it on all points. But I've had a lot of people lately ask me what this American Gospel documentary is. And very simply, it is about a 3-hour documentary on the Word of Faith / prosperity movement that has completely overtaken America right now. It is one of the top watched documentaries on Amazon, stream on Amazon Prime. And so it is really, really gaining some traction. And I'm willing to be so bold that I would say, if you are a Christian, you should be required to watch this documentary. It is that good. It is that important. I would love if churches all over did movie nights and they showed this, and I know a lot of them are. But I would love it if that happened. It's that good. It is done in such a, how do I want to say, professional way. That's probably the best way to describe it. The quality of the documentary is fantastic. The content is even better. They do such a good job. And so that's like when I showed a couple of weeks ago, I showed that Bethel sermon and I played it because I want you guys to see that this is actually what these people are saying. I don't want to just sit here and say, well, I heard and I saw. I want you to see it for yourselves. I want you to hear it for yourselves. That's what they do on this documentary. They actually show clips from services and things like that. It's fantastic. Even if you only rent it and you watch it once, believe me, you're going to want to watch it again. But they have an hour teaser on YouTube right now. It's 40 minutes of the documentary, and then it's about 20 minutes of interviews with people that watched it and everything. But I mentioned this second because the last point, it kind of leads into this. So there is a new podcast. Well, it's not really new. It's now it's getting a lot more attention. Let me click over and I'll show you real quick on the other screen. So the podcast is called Cultish, and it's by Apologia, the church and the studios. And they have this new show that's called Defecting from Bethel. There's 3 parts. And you can go to apologiastudios.com/cultish, and you can have access to all their previous episodes. But right here is the 3 episodes from Bethel. And so the reason why I mentioned this is because, one, I think more people need to know about Bethel. And then I know also you're hearing that, and you're hearing cultish, and you're thinking, well, Bethel is a cult. They are, plain and simple. And I'm willing to be as bold as to say that, because they are. Watch some of their stuff. It's not Christian at all. They are a cult that needs to be avoided, and plain and simple. And so we've got a lot of good resources that are coming out about them, and more people are becoming aware of what they're actually doing. So anyways, this Defecting from Bethel is actually an interview with a girl by the name of Lindsay Davis. Lindsay was a student at the Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry. Yes, that is a real place. And what happened was Lindsay watched the American Gospel documentary, and she's actually on the American Gospel documentary talking about it. She says, I am a current student at Bethel, and I can confirm the things that they're talking about are actually going on, and these are not made up, they're not exaggerated, they're not blown out of proportion or anything like that. She says this stuff's actually going on. Well, anyways, this documentary that she watched basically changed the course of her life. And so she was confronted with what Bethel was teaching and why it's not biblical. So then she confronted Bethel. She voiced her concerns, and she was expelled. Yes, expelled. Let me read what she posted in reference to this. She says, why did I get kicked out of Bethel's School of Supernatural Ministry? Because I took a stand and spoke out against their false doctrine. I took a stand against their false apostles and prophets and their false teachers. I took a stand against their demonic behaviors and practices. I preached the gospel and called people to repentance. That is why I was kicked out. I will be speaking publicly regarding my expulsion very soon, which she has done. Please be praying that God opens the eyes of these people at Bethel and grants them repentance. Good day, BSSM, Bethel Church. So she says, again, she's speaking publicly. She has done that on this podcast. It is a 3-part series now available at Apologia. I spoke with the guys at Apologia today. I told them I was going to shout out the podcast, and so I wanted to do that. But this is why it's this is why I want to mention it. The stuff that Bethel is doing is plain and simple, just needs to be exposed. We need to get more eyes on what's going on. And we need to get more eyes on the music. We need to get more eyes on what Bill Johnson's actually teaching. We need to get more eyes on what's going on inside the school. And we do that by promoting podcasts like this. We do that by the American Gospel documentaries. We do that by critiquing the sermons that come out. We do that by engaging with what they are teaching so we can refute it, not from a stance of, well, I just don't like this guy because he whatever, but bringing up the teaching and showing others why the teaching is false. That's why we do these things, and that's why it's important to listen to this stuff and share it with your friends, because I guarantee you, the circle of your closest friends and family and stuff like that has more people that listen to Bethel, more people that listen to Bill Johnson, more people that watch Bethel stuff than you can imagine. The movement is huge. It is not just in California. It is all across the country. It is in your backyard. I guarantee it. And you have churches in your area that are being influenced by it every single day. So, with that being said, let's call it a night. Episode 38. Thank you for joining us. We had a nice little crowd tonight. It was good to see everyone. And what else we got going on this week? Friday, we'll have some Logos videos. Thursday, I have a Theology topic video. Got a little bit of everything coming up this week. If not, go to our YouTube channel. You can view all of our... Do I know the name of the youth pastor from Bethel? Not off the top of my head. I don't. I'm sorry. I think, like, if I'm remembering correctly, somebody tagged me in something a long time ago. This was a real long time ago. And I think it was the youth pastor, or maybe he currently is. I don't quite remember, but I don't know his name off the top of my head. I apologize. But next Tuesday, episode 39, probably viewer submitted questions. And then I'm also starting that series on justification by faith alone here real quick. I'm going to work through that book that I was telling you guys about. And so I'm going to probably do a podcast series on that. Don't know what day or anything like that. Hope to start that in the next week. But in the meantime, go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/Theology Nights. Make sure you hit subscribe. You will receive notifications when we post new content. If we go live on YouTube, you also receive notification about that. Facebook.com/Theology Nights. You can receive all of our content that we post every day. Thank you all for tuning in. I will see you sometime this week, hopefully. If not, I'll see you on the next live show. Have a wonderful week, guys. Talk to you soon. God bless. Thanks.